Write like a man. Use a typewriter.
But if somebody came to you, or if you saw somebody who was just a beginner and wanted to do it, what would be like just some broad advice that you might have for beginners who might feel overwhelmed or daunted by the creative process?
It's a great question. It's certainly true that, well, if you and I had an ambition to be a concert pianist, we would immediately realize, oh my God, first of all, I have to learn to play the piano. Then I've got to dedicate years and years, right, to get great technique. I've got to, by memory, play whatever, 160,000 notes, right? And whatever else it is. And so we would take it seriously, right? Oh my God, this is not just, but it's not the same with writing. As you know, people think, oh shit, I could write a letter. I can write a grocery list. Let me write a novel. And that was my attitude too when I started. I just thought, well, how hard can it be? I'll just bang it out. No problem.
Right.
So, but the real answer, of course, is it really does take forever, unless you're a genius, unless you're Scott Fitzgerald or Hemingway or something like that. Right. So, a lot of times, obviously, younger writers will kind of come to me and ask me for advice or whatever. And you can sort of look them in the eye and see if they're full of shit or if they're the real deal, Yeah. And I met a guy the other night. I went to dinner with a guy the other night who's actually quite an established writer. And when you met him, you look him in the eye, go, this guy's the real deal. I can just see it. He's a nerd. He's a geek. He's crazy. He's the kind of guy that will get up at the crack of dawn, a guy that will work for years and years and years. So I would just say to anybody that's if you're thinking of it just as a sort of an easy thing, forget about it. Particularly these days when, there's so much competition, It would be different if it was back in the days of Hemingway and Maxwell Perkins and so forth, where you had a lot of gatekeepers. You had real editors that, at the publishing houses, where if you were really good, they'd actually know it, And a person like Harper Lee, of To Kill a Mockingbird fame, could be recognized and plucked out,
Yeah.
But nowadays there aren't those curators, so you're just out there thrashing around with 20,000 other sharks in the water.
Yeah.
So you got to do it out of love. You got to love it. You got to have, like Elizabeth Gilbert said that great thing. I think I might even said this last time we talked, where when she started out, she said, I made a deal with my writing, and a deal was, I will never ask you to support me. I will always support you. If I have to work as a barista, if I have to be a waitress at Hooters, I'll do that to support you. I won't ask you to be, that I've got to sell a novel and live off of the proceeds.
Yeah.
So it's like brain surgery or being a concert pianist. It's for real.
It's for real. Yeah. And the stakes are high. I mean, that's one thing that you come back to a lot in the war of art, going pro, just that, like, it's a war. I mean, everybody's playing for keeps, Resistance is playing for keeps. Your time is ticking, and it's not the place to play around. You don't dink around and fiddle fart around on the battlefield.
Like the video you were talking about, John, that I did, it's up on Instagram right now. It was a true thing of, because of fire season here, like we were talking about, I was taken out and drive to storage a bunch of my old material, screenplays and books, etc., in case it was a fire. And you saw it filled up the entire back of a Land Rover. And these were all the stuff that's just been rejected. The stuff that I did that never got sold. And it filled up the back, and it also filled up the seats. So, and I was just sort of laughing and making a point of, this is the stuff that's below the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. Now the published stuff is above the surface of the water.
Man.
But there's all this below it.